Hi everybody, I'm Ryan, and today we're going to talk about the Pauper metagame over the course of the last week. And as with all my metagames, I have a disclaimer. This is technically a winner's metagame because Magic Online only posts top 32s of challenges and other events that are relevant enough to take data from, but it's still pretty reflective of the overall metagame. Let's jump into it. So this is the Pauper metagame. To nobody's surprise, at the top is a burn variant, this time Madness Burn, followed in second by both Normal Burn and Boggles, third Blue Terror, and then in fourth Jund Wildfire, which is new to the top 5 actually. So let's talk about these decks, starting with Jund Wildfire. Another beautiful day in Jund. That's a wildfire. Jund Wildfire is named after Cleansing Wildfire, where you get to destroy a land and draw a card, and also the controller of that land searches out a basic land. The cool part about this deck is you can play indestructible lands, and so you can Cleansing Wildfire your own indestructible land, which lets you ramp mana and Cleansing Wildfire replaces itself, which is disgusting. So it becomes a sort of a ramp deck, and it's kind of like a ramp deck is trying to be Grixis artifacts. It's using a bunch of the Grixis artifact synergies and powerful cards and stuff like that. So you're going to be ramping, churning through your deck with that additional mana and using these artifact synergies to kind of just bury your opponent in card advantage.
I didn't know you were there. Oh my god. Who left their snake here? Come on.
In fourth was Blue Terror. Blue Terror is our tempo deck. It rewards you for playing a ton of instant sorceries for Delver of Secrets, so it flips really easily. Cryptic Serpent and Tolarian Terror, so you can play them for very, very cheaply. And then you're doing everything you can to draw a bunch of cards, fill your graveyard as fast as possible, counterspell what your opponent is doing, and then play those incredibly cheap but incredibly powerful creatures because we built our deck around them. Oh, it's so slippery. Boggles plays very cheap hexproof creatures, so they're very, very difficult to remove, and then suits them up and makes them really, 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 really big with cards like Ethereal Armor and Rancor and Armadillo Cloak and all of those things. And because it's hexproof, very often it goes unanswered, and a very, very tall creature, especially with trample and double, especially with lifelink, will take over the game.
My wife hid all the lighters because I like playing with fire. I want to play with fire.
The two types of burn decks are still different enough to separate them, but generally they're becoming really, really similar. They're playing a bunch of burn spells like Lightning Bolt and Lava Dart and stuff like that to be able to burn the face, that being rewarded with Kessig Firecrafter. I think that Kessig something. Can't remember what the card is called. And other aggressive creatures that create artifacts and then use those artifact synergies and discard synergies to trigger things like Sneaky Snatcher and Fiery Temper and all of that stuff. Now, to compare this to like a really focused Madness Burn, Madness Burn has a bunch of cards. This is the best deck, by the way. Madness Burn has a bunch of cards where you draw cards, and discard is a part of the punishment, but the Madness effect allows us to actually cast the spells that we are discarding for much, much cheaper, and thus be able to run a bunch of Lightning Bolt variants alongside a bunch of other cards that we are rewarded for discarding. It's very fast and actually very hard to deal with because they're getting card advantage out of cards that are supposed to not give card advantage, which is pretty incredible. But that is the Pauper metagame over the course of the last week. If you like this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. Check me out on social medias. Links are above me and in the description. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.